We got 4 or 5 stories for you today. We got some Nikola Vlasic. Who's Vlasic? Vlasic. It's like we've signed another. We signed 2. We signed Nikola Vlasic and Nikola Vlasic. 2 for the price of 1. Brilliant. It's getting very confusing, isn't it? I joke, of course. There's only 1. I can't be bothered to start the video again. We got some Vlasic, we got some Kral, we got some Lingard, we got some Rice, and we've got a bit of Winston Reid, actually, possibly being released, which is really, really interesting. All these stories have come from the One Football app, which you can download, clicking the link below. It's what I use. If you watch this video, you've probably already got it, but if you don't, it's where I put all the West Ham news together. You download the app, it's free. It's got a couple of buttons. It asks who do you follow. I follow West Ham and I follow England. It puts all the news together. And it gives me a little bing, which is, actually, it's not, I don't know, whatever the notification noise is on my phone, that's what it does once a day, and it gives me all the West Ham news. Check it out below. Right, okay, I quite like this story to start off with, and it's basically that Alex Kral is really happy that Vlasic, not Vladic, that Vlasic has signed for West Ham. Why is he so happy? Well, because he thinks he's a really good player, and he should know he's got form. Kral goes on to say that he expects Vlasic to have a really big impact at West Ham. He joined from Spartak Moscow, Kral did, okay, but Vlasic was at CSK Moscow, clearly, obviously, Moscow rivals, right? It's like, it's worse than the old firm now. I don't know, actually, I'm just making that up, but they do love a good pie in Moscow, as we established in the last video. Basically, he's saying when he played for CSKA, he was an excellent player, a really, really good player. But it was no surprise to him that Vlasic was such a good player because he said, for example, I know Vlasic from CSKA, so we were big rivals, and now we're teammates, which I'm really pleased about. Also known from the under-21s when we played against Croatia. And also from Euro 2020 when we also played Croatia. So I know this player really well. He goes on to say that he thinks with the addition of the new defenders, I think he just means Zuma defender, it just thinks it's really, really good that it can help West Ham. And I like that. He's probably got more insider knowledge of Vlasic than we have. Well, for starters, he probably doesn't call him Vladic like I do, so he clearly knows him an awful lot better than I do. Actually, there's a pi capital. I'll leave that for the moment. It's I'll just leave it for the moment. I think the Jesse Lingard thing. This is it interesting? I don't know. Gary Neville said he's disappointed by Jesse Lingard, and it's just sort of reporting on that. Neville thinks it was an opportunity missed for Lingard, and you have to say that it probably is. I think Lingard's guilty of thinking that Daniel James going to Leeds has probably opened up a path to the first team. But I don't think it really has, for 2 reasons. Number one, they signed Ronaldo, which pretty much shuts off that path to the first team. That's obviously forgetting Jadon Sancho for a minute. But even without Ronaldo and Jadon Sancho, James wasn't a regular last season. So I don't feel that he was blocking the path to the first team. And the second reason is Ronaldo, quite frankly. They've signed him. It's an odd one. I just feel it's a little bit of a waste of Jesse's career for himself, really, because he did so well at West Ham. And I've maintained for some time, when Jesse Lingard's career's over and a journalist asks him what was the best point of your career, what was the best form of your career, he's probably going to look back at West Ham and think, okay, that, whatever it was, 5 months right there. A bit of an opportunity missed. I'll deal with that in more detail because there's more of a story which was about him rejecting us. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. Hopefully, Vlasic and Vladic turn out to be better players than even Jesse was. Another story is that Declan. Okay, let's just click on this. This is actually from Tribal Football, but One Football app aggregate all of that stuff together basically. So. It's going on about Declan demanding a buyout clause, and it says that Rice will only sign a new contract if it includes a release clause. We know this. We discussed this yesterday, day before yesterday, whatever it might have been. It basically says that as a result of this, Chelsea and Man United are desperate to prize him from the London Stadium. Well, not desperate enough, are they? They're not desperate enough because they didn't want to pay the money. So not that desperate. Look, let's be fair. Chelsea were more desperate for Lukaku. Man United were more desperate for Ronaldo. More desperate for Sancho. So not desperate. Maybe they just would like him, and it's as simple as that. But not desperate enough to pay the money. So anyway, apparently they're buoyed by the fact that he's insisting on this transfer release clause. You know what? He's leaving anyway, isn't he? Let's be perfectly honest. Just how long he stays. All I would suggest is if they're feeling more optimistic now because of the transfer release clause, then perhaps they should hold fire, because there's two factors to this. Number one, I don't believe for a second that that the transfer release clause will be an amount palatable to Man United and Chelsea, because I think they'll find they'll just have to pay whatever they were meant to be paying anyway. Secondly, I'm not sure it'll get done. If Declan and his advisors are going to come in with, you know, a release clause of 70 million, there's no advantage to the club. The club might as well say, we might as well just stay here for another year. We'll see you in a year's time for 70 million. We don't need the additional outlay. We don't need to pay the extra wages that it would take from there to stay. So I think that's probably that one. I mean, this is interesting, and can I say a little bit sad? I think it's a little bit sad. Winston Reid in talks for contract release. It says West Ham United are ready to release Winston Reid from his contract. Football Insider reports that Irons are in negotiations with 33-year-old New Zealander whose salary is £70,000 a week. Reid has been playing for West Ham since August 2010. I just think it's a bit of a shame. His contract runs until 2023. It's a big contract. It's a whopper. You sort of understand. I feel bad for Winston. I think he's got so much credit in the bank with West Ham fans, hasn't he? And he'll never be forgotten. He possibly scored not the most iconic goal, but I think probably in the top 10 most iconic goals scored in the history of West Ham, something like that. I know a few of you argue with that, but you get what I mean. It will forever be held in high esteem by the West Ham fan base, that's for sure. So I think it's a little bit sad. I sort of would have liked, bearing in mind his form last season for Brentford. I thought he was finished, you see. I thought that would be it after he got his knee injury. I didn't think there was any coming back. But he went over to the MLS, didn't he? And then he came back and he played for Brentford. Brentford, a good team, and he got some man of the match performances. So I was sort of hopeful for, well, you know what, if Winston can do that sort of thing in the Championship for a good team, and let's be fair, a Championship team that were destined for the Premier League, then maybe, just maybe, not as the top guy, not as maybe Ogbona's partner or anything, but Balbuena left. Maybe he's Balbuena's replacement. And it's a bit of a shame that he wasn't. That being said, I'm pretty sure David Moyes could have kept him if he'd wanted to. But he's clearly not part of his plans. And I'm just at the stage now, as you know, I'm not really into questioning what David Moyes does. I let him get on with it. I think it's also probably quite telling that Brentford didn't take him on. I don't know whether they bid for him. I don't know what the situation was. So much of this stuff is behind closed doors, of course. We're never going to know. But I think, bearing in mind, Brentford were moving up to the Premier League. They had a defender there with Premier League experience. They probably could have loaned him for another year, couldn't they? Well, we probably would have done a cut price deal. We probably would have let him go on a free just to see his contract go. The fact that they didn't take up what would have been a really, really cheap option for a defender who'd played well from last season with Premier League pedigree. I can't even speak. Vlasic again. With Premier League pedigree. Say that quickly. Premier League pedigree. I just did it. It probably speaks volumes, doesn't it? Really. Bit of a shame, as I say, a little bit of sadness. Final story, which you probably all know already, is that Kral has it's basically Special Agent Big Sue, Potato Salad Souček again, getting us another player. So here's the story: Souček convinces Soufal to sign for West Ham. Right, Souček and Soufal persuade Alex Kral to sign for West Ham. And I love that. I really do. Special Agent Souček. And Kral has said, I will quote Alex Kral. He said, yeah, Thomas and Vlad were like my second agent. Of course they helped a lot. And I'm really happy that I can join West Ham. They said it's a really nice city and the people in London really live for football. And also before the games, you can really feel the atmosphere and it's something different to other leagues or countries. I'm really excited to feel it. It's great. It's great. I love this. This is not somebody that we're going to This is not somebody that we're going to have to wait to settle, is it? This is someone who's just going to settle. And I think he is excited. I think it just takes all that edge out of joining a new club. I really do. All that finding your feet and meeting people and stuff like that. And what I was really impressed with was he also said that Mark Noble had texted him. That's a great thing to do from Mark, by the way, because if anybody is going to lessen Mark Noble's playing time, it's Alex Kral. So I think that's really, really big of him to say welcome to the club. Again, it cuts away any animosity. It's a real tight-knit group. I love this at the moment. I'm loving this about all the just about all the close-knit. It's banter, it's friendship, it's everything that surrounds the West Ham squad. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Well done to the squad. Well done to the backroom staff. Well done to David Moyes, just for making that training ground just a bloody friendly environment. Just needs a few improvements now, doesn't it, really, the training grounds, to bring it up to modern standards. Certainly. Right, that's it. I'll be back plenty of times. I was going to say this week is Sunday, probably next week, actually, with more One Football app aggregated news. Until tomorrow, I'll see you later.